Wait a second. Before you scroll away, the sports world and social media have just been thrown into complete chaos. If you thought you had already witnessed every unbelievable courtside moment this year, think again. A shocking video clip is now spreading rapidly across TikTok, X, and YouTube, leaving millions of viewers confused and stunned. During an intense WNBA matchup, the situation reportedly escalated within seconds. Players appeared caught off guard, officials rushed to control the situation, and the crowd went from tense silence to complete chaos. At the center of the viral discussion was Brittney Griner. During a heated sequence near the basket, following a disagreement over a foul call, Griner appeared visibly frustrated. She turned toward the area of the broadcast camera and, according to the viral interpretation of the clip, allegedly shouted, "I'm a grown man." Wait, what? Did she really say those words during a live game? Or could the audio have been distorted, misunderstood, edited, or taken completely out of context? That question is exactly what has divided social media. Fans have been arguing over the footage, reaction videos have exploded, and countless viewers are asking the same thing: what actually happened in that moment? Today, we are taking a closer look at the viral clip, the audio surrounding it, and the context that may have been missing from the short version spreading online. To understand why a few seconds of footage created such a massive reaction, you first have to understand the environment in which these athletes compete. Professional basketball is anything but relaxed. These players perform under enormous pressure, surrounded by thousands of fans inside an arena while millions more watch from home. Every possession can matter. Every referee decision can change momentum. And every physical exchange can push emotions closer to the edge. A missed call, a hard collision, or a physical battle underneath the basket can transform an ordinary possession into a heated confrontation almost instantly. And that brings us to Brittney Griner. Regardless of how fans feel about her, there is no question that Griner has built her career around physicality, size, defensive strength, and an imposing presence around the basket. At roughly 6'9", she has long been one of the most physically imposing players in women's basketball. Her size changes the way opponents defend the paint. She can alter shots, battle for position, and create problems for defenders simply through her presence. But that kind of physical dominance also means opponents are constantly testing her. Defenders fight for position. They double-team her. They contest every touch. They use physical pressure to prevent her from establishing herself near the rim. And during the game at the center of this viral discussion, that physical intensity appeared to reach another level. The contest had reportedly become increasingly physical, especially around the basket. Both teams were fighting for loose balls and rebounds, and every possession seemed to carry more tension than the one before it. As the game progressed, frustration appeared to build. Griner repeatedly looked toward the officials after physical plays, seemingly expecting calls that did not come. Her body language suggested that she was becoming increasingly irritated with the way the game was being officiated. Then came the sequence that would eventually become the center of the internet debate. During an offensive possession, Griner received the ball near the basket and attempted to finish through defensive pressure. Contact occurred as she moved toward the rim, but no whistle followed. The opposing team secured possession and immediately began moving in the other direction. Instead of instantly running back, Griner appeared to turn toward the officials. The frustration that had been building throughout the game seemed to boil over. She gestured toward the official and appeared to shout during the exchange. Cameras captured the moment from close range, while arena microphones picked up portions of the surrounding sound. Normally, a professional basketball player arguing with a referee would not be particularly unusual. It happens constantly. Players complain about missed calls. Coaches challenge decisions. Emotions rise. Officials attempt to keep control. But this particular moment became different because of what viewers believed they heard. A short audio clip began circulating online with captions claiming that Griner had shouted 5 specific words. "I'm a grown man." And once those words were attached to the footage, the internet exploded. The clip was quickly cut down, reposted, captioned, and shared across social media. People began debating whether the audio was genuine, whether the words had been misunderstood, or whether something else was being heard entirely. Within a short period of time, reaction accounts began dissecting the footage. Some viewers insisted the audio was obvious. Others argued that the recording was unclear, and that people were hearing what they expected to hear. TikTok creators began posting reaction videos. X users debated the clip frame by frame. YouTube channels turned the moment into commentary, while meme accounts transformed the audio into jokes and remixes. The controversy spread far beyond regular Wnba fans. People who had never watched the original game were suddenly discussing a few seconds of footage they had encountered through reposts. That is the strange power of viral sports clips. A moment that lasts only a few seconds can be stripped from its original context, given a dramatic caption, and transformed into an entirely different story. And that is exactly why this particular clip became so difficult to separate from the rumors surrounding it. The original moment may have simply been an emotional reaction during a heated basketball game. But once the internet attached a shocking interpretation to the audio, the clip became something much bigger. Suddenly, the debate wasn't only about a referee's decision. It became a discussion about Griner, the WNBA, social media, and what viewers believed they had heard. And as the clip continued spreading, one question became impossible to ignore. Was the internet witnessing a genuine shocking statement from Brittney Griner, or was millions of people simply reacting to an audio interpretation that had never been properly verified? People who hadn't watched even a single basketball game that season were suddenly sitting at home, replaying the same 5-second clip over and over, sometimes dozens of times, trying to figure out exactly what had been said. Major sports bloggers and commentators soon joined the conversation. Some described it as one of the craziest examples of courtside audio ever captured. Others pushed back, arguing that viewers could be falling victim to a classic audio illusion. Their point was simple: when a deep voice is shouted inside a massive arena filled with echoes, crowd noise, and competing microphones, certain words can sound completely different from what was actually spoken. Human hearing can easily fill in unclear sounds and turn them into familiar phrases. And just like that, the internet was divided. One side believed viewers had witnessed a shocking, completely unscripted moment of basketball madness. The other side insisted there had to be another explanation for the strange audio that millions were suddenly convinced they had heard. That brings us to one of the most important parts of this story. Before getting into the social media arguments, the AI theories, or any potential response from officials, it's important to understand just how powerful viral media has become. In today's digital world, an athlete can play an incredible 40-minute game, score 30 points, grab 15 rebounds, and hit a game-winning shot, and yet none of that may become the biggest story. Instead, a 5-second clip captured from the wrong angle, through a distorted microphone, can completely take over the conversation. Context can disappear almost instantly. Suddenly, nobody is discussing the final score. Nobody is talking about playoff positioning, defensive adjustments, individual performances, or even the officiating that may have caused the original frustration. Instead, millions of people are focused on one mysterious phrase allegedly echoing through their phone speakers. "I'm a grown man." Was that actually what Griner said? Was the audio simply misunderstood? Or had viral creators discovered a perfect opportunity to turn an unclear moment into a massive internet controversy? As the clip's views continued climbing, eventually reaching millions across multiple platforms, the pressure moved away from the actual game and toward everyone connected to the broadcast. The internet wanted an explanation. And the controversy was only getting started. Within hours of the clip first appearing online, the sports internet seemed to completely lose control. What began as a relatively small courtside video posted by a fan account quickly transformed into a much larger digital storm. Millions of views began appearing across TikTok. Hashtags started trending on X, Reddit communities picked apart the footage. Podcasts rushed to discuss it, and commentary channels began producing videos almost immediately. Whenever a strange clip goes viral, social media tends to divide into different camps. This time, the split was especially loud. On one side were reaction channels, meme accounts, trolls, and casual viewers who accepted the 5-second clip exactly as it appeared on their screens. For many of them, verifying the audio was secondary to the entertainment value. Engagement came first. Within minutes, creators were uploading reaction videos, using exaggerated facial expressions, dramatic thumbnails, and giant arrows pointing toward Griner'S face. The footage was slowed down, replayed, enhanced, pitch-adjusted, and uploaded again and again. Comment sections quickly became chaotic, filled with disbelief, jokes, arguments, and increasingly exaggerated theories. Sports podcasters and commentators, who rarely discussed women's basketball, suddenly had a brand new topic dominating their content. Emergency live streams appeared with titles questioning whether Griner had really said the controversial phrase. Other videos framed the moment as a major Wnba scandal. Thousands of viewers tuned in to debate the same question: was the audio authentic, misunderstood, edited, or something else entirely? Some commentary channels went even further, analyzing Griner'S facial expressions during the outburst. They zoomed in on her mouth, examined her jaw movement, studied her breathing, and tried to determine whether her lip movements matched the words being attributed to her. Because the phrase itself sounded so unexpected in the middle of a professional basketball game, it became perfect material for anyone looking to generate attention. Meme pages quickly grabbed the audio and placed it over unrelated sports clips. Before long, the supposed quote had evolved beyond the original footage and started functioning as a viral sound effect. Users began incorporating it into comedy videos, reaction clips, and completely unrelated posts. The internet had effectively taken ownership of the moment before anyone had conclusively established what the recording actually contained. The original game was fading into the background. The score no longer mattered. The basketball context was disappearing. The only thing people wanted to discuss was those few seconds of confusing audio. But while the meme machine was operating at full speed, another group was pushing back just as hard. Sports journalists, audio specialists, and serious basketball fans began questioning the viral interpretation and demanding that people slow down before treating an unclear recording as undeniable proof. They stepped into the conversation to examine the footage from a more technical and logical perspective, highlighting several important details that viral rage bait accounts had largely ignored. First, consider the acoustics inside a professional sports arena. Anyone who has attended a major basketball game knows just how overwhelming the sound can become. Thousands of fans are shouting at once, arena speakers are blasting music, referees are blowing whistles, and players' shoes are constantly scraping across the hardwood. Now imagine trying to capture a single player's voice clearly in the middle of all that noise. Courtside microphones are designed to pick up action close to the floor, but the resulting audio can still contain enormous amounts of background noise. Compression can also change the way individual sounds come through, especially when several voices and loud noises overlap. Plosive sounds and similar consonants can become difficult to distinguish when the recording is compressed, distorted, or played through a small phone speaker. Audio-focused creators began experimenting with the viral clip, attempting to separate the crowd noise from Griner'S voice and make the words easier to identify. Some argued that once the background noise was reduced, the phrase sounded much closer to something like, "I'm a grown woman," while others suggested it could have been something along the lines of, "Call the foul, man." In a heated basketball game, either interpretation could make more sense within the surrounding context than the viral version being promoted online. A player frustrated with an official might easily shout at a referee after feeling that repeated contact was being ignored. The problem is that the original recording was never perfectly clean. Griner'S voice was captured inside a huge, echo-filled arena and then passed through additional layers of compression as the footage was uploaded, reposted, and processed by different platforms. That can dramatically alter how individual words sound. If the final portion of a word becomes difficult to hear, listeners may automatically fill in the missing sound with whatever phrase they already expect to hear. And that leads to another important factor: expectations. Griner'S has a naturally deep-speaking voice, something that has been part of her public identity throughout her basketball career. For longtime Wnba and basketball fans, her voice is familiar. But someone encountering her for the first time through a short viral clip may not have that context. When a powerful voice is suddenly heard shouting during an emotionally intense moment, the sound can be surprising to people who aren't familiar with it. That surprise can make an ambiguous recording seem even more unusual. And in the modern social media environment, unusual moments are exactly what attract attention. The internet has also entered an era where manipulated audio and synthetic media are easier to create than ever. AI voice tools, audio editing programs, pitch-shifting software, and other digital tools can now be accessed by ordinary users with relatively little technical knowledge. That doesn't automatically mean the Griner'S clip was AI-generated. It simply means that viewers have legitimate reasons to be cautious whenever an audio clip appears online without a verified original source. Creators have demonstrated how easily a real video can be paired with altered audio, modified pitch, or a completely different voice track. A person's mouth movements can remain unchanged while the sound underneath is manipulated. That makes short viral clips especially difficult to judge based solely on what appears in a reposted version. Some online fact-checkers, sports commentators, and digital media analysts began urging viewers to locate the original broadcast rather than relying on heavily edited copies circulating across social platforms. Some versions of the clip had reportedly been slowed down, enhanced, cropped, or otherwise modified before reaching new audiences. And every additional edit creates another opportunity for the original sound to become distorted. Despite those explanations, the controversy didn't simply disappear. In fact, it continued growing. Why? Because outrage travels much faster online than careful verification. The debate wasn't really about 5 unclear words anymore. It had become a perfect example of how modern social media algorithms reward emotional reactions. Platforms naturally amplify content that generates strong responses: anger, shock, laughter, confusion, or disbelief. A detailed explanation about arena acoustics might attract a relatively small audience. But a headline claiming that a WNBA star made a shocking statement during a live broadcast can generate millions of clicks. That difference creates a powerful incentive for creators to emphasize the most sensational interpretation possible. By the end of the week, the controversy had moved well beyond the original basketball moment. It was no longer simply a question about what happened during one heated exchange. It had become a broader debate about viral misinformation, manipulated audio, AI editing, and the growing difficulty of separating authentic footage from content engineered specifically for maximum engagement. For Brittney Griner, this episode is a reminder that in the digital age, a few seconds of unclear footage can create an entire narrative before the facts have a chance to catch up. Her size, voice, playing style, and public profile make her especially easy for viral accounts to turn into a headline. And that is exactly where the bigger issue begins. A player can spend an entire game competing at the highest level, making defensive stops, fighting for rebounds, and trying to help her team win. But one unclear moment caught by a courtside microphone can suddenly become the only thing people remember. The original game disappears, The actual circumstances disappear. And the internet replaces them with a much simpler story. A clip is posted. A dramatic caption is added. Millions of people react. Other accounts repost it without checking the original footage, and before long, the claim starts looking like established fact simply because so many people are repeating it. That cycle can be incredibly difficult to stop. By the time someone finally asks whether the audio was authentic, whether the footage was edited, or whether the words were simply misunderstood, the controversy may already have reached millions of viewers. And there is another important lesson here. Virality is not the same thing as verification. A video can have millions of views and still be completely misleading. A hashtag can trend worldwide without proving the claim behind it. And thousands of comments repeating the same accusation do not automatically transform speculation into evidence. That distinction matters even more when real people are involved. For professional athletes, a misleading viral story can affect their reputation, their relationship with fans, and even the way future incidents are interpreted. Once a particular narrative becomes attached to someone, every new clip can be viewed through that same lens. That is why viewers have to slow down before accepting the most sensational version of a story. Look for the original footage. Listen to the complete audio. Check whether reputable sources have independently verified the claim. And most importantly, separate what the video clearly shows from what people are merely assuming happened. Because in this case, the biggest story may not actually be what Brittney Griner supposedly said. The bigger story is how quickly millions of people were willing to believe something from a few seconds of unclear footage. That is the real power and danger of modern sports media. One moment can become a headline. A headline can become a controversy. And a controversy can become a completely different story from what actually happened on the court. So the next time a shocking sports clip suddenly appears across TikTok, X, YouTube, or Instagram, remember one simple rule. Don't let the caption tell you what your eyes and ears supposedly saw. Check the evidence first. Because sometimes the most unbelievable part of a viral sports controversy isn't what happened on the court. It's what happened after the internet got hold of it. When an athlete becomes as recognizable as Brittney Griner, the internet often stops seeing them as a person and starts treating them like a source of content. One moment of frustration on the court can suddenly become a meme. A few unclear words can turn into a massive online theory, and a routine disagreement with a referee can become a week-long topic across sports podcasts, radio shows, and social media. But imagine what that does to the athlete. You spend hours every day training, studying film, recovering, and pushing your body to its absolute limit because you want to win for your team. Then, after the game, you discover that millions of people are replaying 5 seconds of distorted audio and trying to determine exactly what they think you said. That is the strange reality of modern professional sports. And to understand why moments like this can become so confusing, we have to look at the nature of emotion in elite competition. Basketball has always been an emotional sport. Think about legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant arguing with officials, or LeBron James reacting passionately during a critical possession, or Serena Williams expressing frustration during an intense match. Emotion has always been part of elite competition. Players talk trash. They yell to motivate themselves. They communicate with teammates. And when they believe a dangerous foul has been missed, they can become visibly frustrated with officials. That intensity is part of what makes professional sports so compelling. But technology has changed what happens to those moments afterward. A directional microphone positioned just a few feet from an athlete can capture incredibly raw audio. Add thousands of screaming fans, arena speakers, whistles, sneakers hitting the floor, and the echo of a massive building, and the resulting recording may not sound anything like what the athlete actually heard in real time. When someone is exhausted and screaming at full volume, pronunciation can become unclear. Words can blend together. Voices can crack. Pitch can change. And individual sounds can become difficult to distinguish. Years ago, most of those moments disappeared as soon as the game ended. Today, they can live online forever. A fan records the moment in 4K. Someone clips 5 seconds. Another account adds a dramatic caption. A third account changes the audio. Then someone else posts a reaction video. Within hours, the original context can be almost impossible to find. So what should viewers take away from this entire viral controversy? First, it is a reminder that digital literacy matters. Before sharing a shocking clip, or accusing an athlete of saying something outrageous, ask a few basic questions. Where did the audio originate? Is this the complete recording? Has the clip been edited, slowed down, pitch shifted, or otherwise altered? And most importantly, what does the full game footage actually show? When you look at the broader context surrounding the moment, the situation appears far less mysterious. Griner was involved in an intense physical game and reacting to what she believed was a missed call. Everything beyond that needs to be approached carefully unless it can be independently verified. Second, this situation raises questions about the responsibility of sports media. When major outlets rush to cover viral clips without properly checking them, they can unintentionally turn speculation into perceived fact. The desire to be first can sometimes become more important than the responsibility to be accurate. Fans deserve better than that. They deserve coverage focused on the basketball itself, the strategy, athleticism, competition, rivalries, performances, and moments that actually happen on the court. Because eventually, every viral controversy disappears. The next trending clip arrives. The next athlete becomes the subject. The algorithm moves forward. And the outrage cycle starts all over again. For Griner and her teammates, the most important thing is ultimately what happens on the court. Games continue. Seasons continue. Careers continue. And this particular incident may eventually be remembered less as a major scandal and more as an example of how easily modern social media can transform an unclear moment into a global spectacle. The real question isn't whether something like this will happen again. It almost certainly will. The real question is whether viewers will pause long enough to ask, what actually happened? So now we want to hear from you. Do you think the viral audio was simply affected by arena acoustics, microphone compression, and the chaos of a live game? Or do you think some accounts intentionally manipulated the clip because controversy generates more clicks? And what do you think about the way social media handles emotional moments involving professional athletes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We genuinely want to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button. It takes only a second, but helps the video reach more basketball fans. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next breakdown of the biggest sports stories, viral controversies, and internet debates. Most importantly, remember this. Don't let a viral caption become your evidence. Watch the footage. Check the context. Question the claim. And think before you share. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.